Let's get rolling here. It's Tuesday, May 17th. Where are we at? Where are we at? May the 17th. Get my dry erase markers. Cross off a day here. All right, there's your Pear Deck link. Go ahead and log in. And this should be a relatively quick session today. Relatively, shorter lesson. Oh, Rose, that's a shame. They're hard though. I hear it's really hard to get one. They're smart. That's what makes it so fun. I've never been. You know what? I was literally driving through my neighborhood and one ran out in front of me the other day. It was a little hen. It wasn't like a big tom turkey. It was a female. All right, well, today we're going to be talking about Reaganomics. There's only 9 of you in this Pear Deck. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Fun fact, guys. I'm sending out Swift messages, those mass emails to parents who have kids who are failing. You don't get points for logging into class. You don't get points. You don't get grades for attendance. You have to be here. So in order to get the grade, you have to, participate and do the work. It's a shocking concept, I know, but people be slacking, as Ben says. All right, where's our stress level at today? Where are we at today? I think I'm about a 2.5. I got my cup of green tea here. No coffee for me today. This is my second cup of green tea. This is that Tazo. It's got like mint and lemongrass green tea in it. I like it, Ben. I do. Nice little switch. Arizona green tea is solid, and it's always 99 cents. I like the mango one. The mango punch or whatever. That one is awesome. If you can find the big yellow can, that one is where it's at. I'm not a big fan of the watermelon one. I don't know if I've ever had. There's a grape one, right? There's a purple one. I don't know if I've ever had that one. I'm not a huge fan of like fruit punch, but that mango one and the Arnold Palmer, where it's the tea and the lemonade, chef's kiss. Where are we at? If we are over here, and there's something I can do to help you to bring it down here, let me know. Let me know how I can help. You know what, Rose? I'm not a huge fan of like the fake watermelon flavor. Like the give me the fake strawberry and the fake raspberry all day, but the fake watermelon, it's weird. It's weird. Weird. It's how my wife is, Rose. She hates grape flavored, like grape soda, but she'll eat like all the grapes. Because it's not like grape soda. That's not what grape tastes like. Fake flavors. All right, let's get moving here. All 16 of us logged into the Pear Deck. There's that link one more time if you need it. All right, our learning target today is you should be able to describe President Reagan's economic policies by examining his spending plan, which we called Reaganomics. Okay. Yesterday, we talked about how Reagan gets elected with the help of the moral majority, that televangelists. And in 1980, America's trapped in an economic crisis. We're coming out of the 70s. There's a gas shortage, the oil embargo, high inflation, high unemployment, all sorts of things. And Americans were contemplating their identity as a nation, and the country's in flux. Conservatism is on the rise, and many people in society are focused on how to deal with the country's political and societal problems. The Cold War is starting to wind down. The 80s are going to be the last decade of the Cold War. But other sinister forces in the world are threatening the United States as global power. And against this backdrop, Americans are desperate for stability, safety, and above all, a return to economic growth. Enter Reaganomics, and enter Ronald Reagan. Reagan was a leader who spoke to the fears and the hopes of many Americans. He was known as the great communicator. He's a former actor. Reagan was a B-list actor in the 50s, starring in spaghetti westerns. And he became governor of California, and he knew how to mesmerize audiences with his words. Again, he was an actor. Through his speaking ability, he was able to sway voters towards his thinking, and Reagan's political platform appealed in particular to the growing number of conservatives in the United States. He supported a strong national defense. He opposed abortion. He favored a tough stance against crime. As Reagan took the presidential seat, he sought to turn around the nation's struggling economy, and his controversial plan, nicknamed Reaganomics, is born. Reagan blamed high taxes, government overregulation, and excessive spending on social programs for the United States economy's lack of growth. Those social problems that he blamed are food stamps, welfare, Social Security, and disability insurance. So that one of the first things he does is greatly defund these programs. He says these are just draining the economy. These are draining all of our resources, all of the money, and it's what's hurting the economy. Part of his plan included a 30% tax cut that would be dealt out in phases during the first 3 years, but these tax cuts would mostly only affect those at higher income levels. And then they called this trickle-down economics. This form of trickle-down economics worked under the theory that providing tax relief for the wealthy would encourage them to invest and spend more money, i.e., they would increase the increase in spending would stimulate the economy and create new jobs. The idea was, hey, if we cut the taxes of all of these rich people who own all the businesses, they own all the factories, right? They're the job creators. So we're going to cut all of their taxes so they're going to have even more money. And then they'll use that money to hire more workers or give people raises and things like that. The president hoped that through these tax cuts, we'd be able to generate more revenue. People would be spending more and more money. One moment. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you. While Reagan was confident his plan would be successful, Congress was very unsure. As a result, they only approved up to a 25% tax cut. And at the beginning of the institution, this tax cut is criticized by the Federal Reserve, and they're concerned that the tax base is going to ultimately raise interest rates and inflation. Okay, so spoiler alert, guys. Here's what actually happened with trickle-down economics. They gave the richest Americans a 25% tax cut, thinking that they would pay their employees more money. They'd hire more employees. They'd open more businesses, and they didn't. They just kept the money. During the election of 1980, Reagan committed himself to investigating the reasons for the amount of national debt. So the amount of money that the United States owed. In 1982, The commission was headed by a multimillionaire industrialist, J. Peter Grace. He was tasked with rooting out inefficiency in government spending. So Reagan wanted this guy to go and look and see why are we in such debt? Why is the United States in such debt? So the Grace Commission is created, and they do their research. And in 1984, they come back and present Congress with their recommendations. They discovered that over $400 billion was being wasted annually. Its members came to this conclusion by realizing that 2/3 of income tax was either not collected or wasted through inefficiency. And the remaining 1/3 went to pay the interest on the national debt. The committee's suggestion looked to save the government over $10 trillion over 15 years. Congress ignored their report. And over time, Reagan's spending on Cold War armaments, coupled with wars in the Middle East and the recession of 2008, would grow the national debt to more than $13 trillion. So think about that. 1984, they said, hey, we're wasting all of this money doing this, this, and this. And if we just did this, we would save ourselves $10 trillion by the year 2000. Well, by the year 2008, we were more than $13 trillion in debt. Okay. Also, another fact here, Reagan's spending on Cold War armaments. So we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. But if you ever look at and see at what who the highest spenders in defense are in the world, the United States outranks everybody by a lot. And I think it's the next six highest countries are our allies. Reagan was the president that started that. Yeah, I know, Larry, but you'll have a recorded session and a workbook just like last week. Wednesdays are not days off; they're work days. Days for you to get caught up. But anyway, Reagan's the reason. Reagan was the first president that just starts basically throwing money at the military, saying, take whatever you want, however much you want, and we're going to outspend. That's how we're going to beat the Russians. We're just going to outspend them. Okay, and it's important to know Russia is in a bad spot during this time economically. A lot of the economic gains that they had in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they lied about. They lied about, in a way, Nathaniel, it worked. But to what extent? I mean, we're $13 trillion in debt. The Soviet Union collapses in 1991, but we're still in debt. I mean, if you think about it, in 2014, 2015, Obama kind of did the same thing because oil is traded in the dollar. That's why the United States fights so hard whenever there's oil, right? It's because OPEC only trades oil in the dollar, which is one of the reasons Russia is invading Ukraine, and they're trying to get their petroleum to be traded in the ruble, which is the Russian money, right? Was I getting that? I just lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So one of the ways that we destabilized Russia not that long ago was we started overproducing oil in the late 2000s. I say the late 2000s, like the 2010s. We start overproducing and made the price of a barrel of oil like next to nothing. That's why gas was so cheap when like Trump took over. It was because we were overproducing oil, and it was like $30 a barrel. Right now it's like 150. But there's all sorts of reasons for that. But anyway, both 1981 and 1982 saw a deep recession as high interest rates resulted in an increase in the value of the dollar around the world. As American goods became more expensive overseas, fewer people bought them, and the number of exports decreased. As the price of goods in America also increased, the number of imports increased as citizens looked overseas to find lower prices for certain purchases. Spencer, that's not true. That oil pipeline was never even built yet. The economy does stabilize later in 1983. However, it took time before the national growth resumed. In the late 1980s, we saw even more growth in the gross national product, and the annual inflation rate fell to the lowest in decades. During his second term as president, Reagan signed a major tax reform measure that was designed to simplify the tax brackets, close loopholes, and lower income tax rates. Reaganomics. On the surface, it seemed as if people across the nation were doing well. But a less optimistic story is unfolding on the surface. Much of the growth during the 80s of this time is founded on deficit spending, and the national debt nearly triples. So we're just basically, Reagan's just buying stuff on a credit card and not paying that card back yet. And the debt just keeps going a bit more and more and more and more and more, right? So it looks like we're doing well. We're spending money. We're building the military. People are going back to work, and everything seems to be stabilizing. But that national debt is just ballooning, and we're getting tax cuts. But while growth does occur in technical areas, families of the lower and middle class don't fare that well. If you're middle class or if you're poor, you're not doing well during the 80s. Okay, you're struggling. You're struggling. And while taxes are reduced at home, the Reagan administration begins to raise the taxes through tariffs. Tariffs are taxes placed on imported goods. Restrictions on foreign trade help to boost production in American business. Sorry, I let my dog out of the room here. Where were we? Anyhow, so restrictions on foreign trade help boost production in American businesses. And this allows American businesses to dominate the consumer market during the Reagan era. While placing restrictions on foreign trade, Reagan engaged in bailing out foreign countries with loans. This policy extends the control of the United States government throughout the world. When a nation was nearing bankruptcy, we went and bailed them out. And this placed the country in debt to the United States. So yeah, we start owing money to people all over, but we start giving money to people who are also owing money, and now they owe us. So here's a quick little video, just kind of explaining what we just talked about. Give me a second, I'll get it loaded up for you. It's short. Do the pros and cons of Reaganomics. Tell me what the positives were. Tell me what the negatives were. And then do workbook 5.7 for today. And then for tomorrow, I will post a recording talking through the Pear Deck, but read through the Pear Deck. But everything in the Pear Deck comes from here. But you're going to do Reagan's foreign interventions tomorrow. And then we'll pick up on Thursday with the Iran-Contra scandal. And then don't forget, guys, there's no live class on Friday. So Thursday will be our last day live. I will post a class recording just like I did on Wednesday. Okay? So you'll watch that class recording, and then you'll do workbook 5.10 for Wednesday. And again, everything that we're going to do for the rest of the year, it's all posted. So if you want to work ahead, be my guest. If you need to catch up, if you need an assignment list, please let me know. Ben, did you get yours? I know Spencer got theirs. Jaheem, did you get yours? I sent them out to you yesterday afternoon. Okay, cool. If anybody else needs one, let me know. Larry, you need one? Ashley, you got it? Spencer, see you, Ben. Anyone else? Last call for the day. For the live session, I should say. Don't forget, if you need help, if you don't understand something, come to the target session at 12:30 and 2:30. You have a great day too, Ashley. Yes, go out and enjoy the sunshine a little bit this afternoon after you go to all your classes. Bye, Marianne. Have a great day. We'll see you all.